Alright, I caught some odorous house ants and queens from a big old colony on the place I have my pallet wood at. Um, these guys they have multiple queens, so they're polyamorous, something like that. There's 4 in this bag. Um, the ants kind of tend to make piles around the queens whenever they get stressed out. There's actually 4 in here, but they can bind in 2 piles. Let's see if we can see them on the flip side. No, not really. And there's a bunch of queens and eggs in here. How I caught these guys is I just lifted up some of the pallet wood and I just kind of dumped them in this bag. These guys don't they bite and they'll spray acid at you and stuff, but it doesn't really hurt, unless you're allergic or something. So it's not really a big deal. All right, this is a good way to show you all the difference between queens and regulars right here. So the one on the left there is a queen, and the one on the right is just a regular worker. So you can see they're about 50% bigger, something like that, almost double the size. A lot of other ants, the queens are quite a bit bigger, but in this species, they're odorous house ants, coconut ants. I can't think of the scientific name, but in these guys, they're the queens just aren't that big, and the ants are very small too. Like, here's a finger for a scale, right? Oh, where's that queen at? Here we go. Yeah, finger for scale. Yeah, they're small. Here is I don't have a pin. Oh well. Yeah, but they're small. Yeah, they don't really make great pets. They're kind of escape artists and that type of thing. They don't really make great pets. I'm going to put them in that thing. Yeah, I need to clean up around here. We're kind of moving, so it's a bit of a mess. But yeah, I'm going to put them in that. I have no idea where I'm going to put that thing. I got it to put my roaches in, actually, but I think these roaches are going to end up feeding these ants. So the roaches are just feeders for some of my wild type bettas and frogs. And I had an assassin bug and stuff like that. That's what they were for. But just feeders. So now there'll be some for these ants, and these guys are farmers. Actually, kind of a lot of ants. They'll farm, or ranchers, I guess. Really, they'll farm aphids for their I believe it's called honeydew. It's like a sweet thing they exert. I assume to get help from other insects to protect them. I mean, I would think, couldn't see another reason for them doing it. But actually, a lot of ant species will they'll take care of them, which is kind of cool. Not if aphids are attacking your garden, but otherwise it's pretty neat. So we're gonna have these in a kind of a more natural style setup, like most of my tanks are. Get some plants from the backyard, some rocks, some stuff like that. Since these guys are, after all, from the backyard. Yeah, I'll show you how I plan on making sure they don't escape and all that. I don't want all these queens. There's straight up 10 in here and 4 in here. And if you're looking on Google right now and you're seeing that AI crap that says these things can have up to 18 queens, that's a load of shit. Where it got that from is a Reddit post, and the guy was saying he caught a 18 queen colony of these things at his parents' house. So that's all that's from. That's not how many they have. Honestly, I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say this colony has literally hundreds of queens. There's a crap load. I'll show y'all in a while. I'm actually catching some more workers because this is not enough workers for the amount of queens I have. I set up a little trap and I don't want to disturb them right now. But I'm catching a few more. Yeah. So don't think I'm like destroying this colony or anything. They'll be fine. They'll be back up to this number of queens if they won in like 3.5 seconds. So I think that one might have got smashed. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it. The reason I'm taking these guys is they grow real quick because they have multiple queens. That's what they do. And they were convenient, and I would like some ants whenever because carpenter ants take forever. It'll be like years, like straight up, like years before I have anything of interest. So these will be my little ant fix in the meantime. I haven't had ants for about ever since I got into fish. Well, that's not true. I got into ants whenever about the time I got into fish, but whenever I got really into fish, the ants went away. But I want some again because they're pretty fun to watch. These things do smell like really bad. Well, not really bad, but they're not pleasant. So if you are disturbing a colony, like that's what that smell is. Or rotten coconuts. Same thing if you squish them. Just kind of interesting. It's just a defense thing whenever they get stressed out type of deal. Check this out. We have an ant that's hanging off. Come on. An ant's leg. And that ant has another ant that's hanging off a hand. Yeah. Right there. Hopefully y'all can see that. And the one who's got some extra weight also has a bunch of eggs. It's crazy. I don't know why he's allowing that, but that's kind of strange. I figured this is worth mentioning too. Actually, that ant who had the guys hanging off, those two were dead. So they died holding on to his leg for some reason. So now he just has 2 dead ants that won't let go. So, could you imagine that? That's crazy. I'm surprised their legs are so... Well, I guess that's not really an unreasonable amount of strength. Like, I feel like I could hold, like, at least that much from my leg. But here, you see how messed up. This area, I think this is like a graveyard. Right in here. Because these 2 corners have all the eggs. For the most part. Up there and then up there. You can see there's some queens too. There's some queens in this general area, but I think they just haven't been corralled yet. Because the workers will kind of corral them. Which is kind of interesting. I put a roach in each of these to feed them because it's going to be... It'll be a bit before I can get them into their actual tank. So this'll do for now. It's not that big of a deal. But you can see how these guys... I mean, it's not good, but it's not ideal. But I should have... I thought I had some stuff and I didn't. We'll say that. So gotta wait for some stuff to come in the mail. But you can see these guys are, they got it all nice and tidy, and there's a few hanging around foraging, but most all of them, all 4 queens in that mess. There. And then the reason I assume this is a graveyard is it seems like, there's 2 or 3 obviously alive queens in there, but there's a lot of dead guys too. I guess those guys can't right themselves. Because, to be honest, I thought he was dead. I usually like to pre-kill him because I think he's kind of cruel. And plus, these guys, they don't really hunt. Like, they're more ranchers and farmers. They'll eat, like, roaches and stuff. They're opportunistic in that regard, but they don't hunt. I mean, there was roaches and freaking centipedes and spiders and roly-polies or woodlouse, I guess, living with them, and they did not care at all. They don't really eat like that. You can see that one's... Oh, no, he's messing with some eggs. But, yeah, they don't really eat. They don't really hunt like that, you know. You know, if something's disturbing the colony and trying to get them, you know, they will. But for the most part, they're not really hunters. You can see there's one on that one that's smashed. One or two getting a piece. He's not alive. His antenna is just moving. Yeah, there's some snacking on him, and they're too busy to eat in this colony, I suppose. It looks like there's another one. Oh, they're moving him. Oh, I think I might have just touched the bag, actually. But, yeah. I mean, that's, yeah. Bye. So, we got our false bottom in. What it is it's just some, well, it's these things that I use for filter media, and then some landscaping fabric, and then some activated carbon, both under and on top of the landscaping fabric. And then we're going to put some black diamond blasting sand around the edges, so it kind of, you know, it doesn't look like that, basically. Which, this is already kind of beat up, so it already kind of looks like crap, but, you know, whatever. You know, I'm making it as good as possible here. But I'm going to do that off camera just because I only have so many hands. So I'll be back whenever I do that. Alright, so we got the black diamond blasting sand in. Probably say it better on this side. And there you go. It kind of... I should have folded it differently, but that's... I mean, that is what it is. Well, maybe I should go back and do it again, but I don't really want to. I folded it under, and I meant to fold it out so I could put the sand on top of the material, but I forgot. And I already added the sand, and I don't really want to do it again. So, I should really do it again. But we'll decide if I want to do that or not. Okay, so I did redo it, which is probably a good call. Get some light. Hopefully y'all can tell the difference there. It looks... this tank is very bad, but yeah, trust me, it looks better. So I need to get some actual dirt on here, and you can see the activated carbon, maybe. It's black on black, so maybe not, but you can... Right there, that's activated carbon. And we just put that in. I put that in just to help soak up any, you know, any bad stuff, basically. So yeah, now I'll be putting the dirt on, planting it up, and get it on. I put Vaseline on this instead of what I was waiting on, which is this. I've never tried this particular PTFE lubricant, but I mean, they're all kind of the same. None of them are, you know, good for you or the environment or anything, really. But they are very slippery. But I already put Vaseline on it because I decided it was taking too long. And then I got wrapped up in some other stuff, and I haven't had a chance to do it. So these guys have been hanging out in the bags for almost a week at this point. This bag is not doing great. There's still some moving around town. This bag's doing much better. There's a little bit of mold forming in this bag, so that's what took them out. But yeah, some of them are still doing okay-ish. Like That queen's moving around. You can see her. But anyways, I'll be getting the dirt in this tomorrow because it is already dark outside. But hopefully I'll have it up pretty shortly. And I'm not sure how the Vaseline will work with these guys. I'm not sure if it'll be slick enough, but I mean, we'll see. If not, I'll be wiping this stuff up and putting the one I bought on. So, yeah. Alright, so with these, almost all of them are dead, unfortunately. I mean, there's a few running around and the queens are alive for the most part. But I don't really want to risk putting any mold spores or anything bad like that in a vine colony, so I went ahead and lifted up a singular piece of wood, and I dumped a few, like maybe a quarter of them, honestly, out into this bag, and you can see there's an absolute ton. There's probably at least 10 queens in here, which is a lot more than I want, but, you know, whatever. So as you can see, I got the dirt in. I got a few plants. There's a broadleaf plantain, some clover, a couple of trees, and whatever that thing is. And basically what I'm going to do is, look, you can see the size difference with the queen. Go to a worker right there. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that I just saw right there. And there's some on my hands too, as you can see. But I'm just going to basically empty this bag out in there. I'm going to untwist it. And I'm going to put it in. I meant to grab a tripod, so let me go do that. Alright, we're on a tripod now, and we got the ants in the bag. Let's put them in here. Let me move this chair. I should have planned this better. You know, I thought I would have more time, but, you know, it just didn't end up working out. As for the ants, I thought I could get it done the next day, but I just, you know, it just didn't happen. So, fortunately, some poor anties had to suffer, but I'm sure a lot of you are happy that ants had to suffer too. So, you know, there you go. Put this in there so they got away to the ground. And knock some of these guys off. You can can't really focus on the ants good here. So try to get y'all lower maybe. Guess that's probably about as good as it's going to get right there, boys. Just less than ideal, but it is what it is. So, but it's going to have to be. But you guys can watch these guys come on out and do their thing. There's already one on my wall. Right, hopefully that's just one I blew off my hand and hit the wall. Hopefully they're not already escaping. That would really suck. But looks like some of them are already carrying brood out of the bag, so that's really good. They'll have to create their own nest. I could put a log or something for them to go under, but I'd rather have them have it subterranean. I'll probably get some of the red, like, film tape stuff to put on the side, so hopefully we can see them tuttling. Probably get that. I don't know. Probably never, since I don't already have it. But if you didn't know, ants can't, like, see red. So if you get, like, red, like, see-through film, you can see on the sides, you know, where they have their tunnels. So Yeah. But anyways, you guys can watch them, watch them go. It looks like one of the queens is actually out. It's not in frame, but saw it climbing on top of the bag. Or it could be on the inside. It's kind of hard to tell. I actually have a 20-gallon glass aquarium that would probably be better, but for ants, it's kind of hard to get the the slippery stuff like to on the silicone good. So it's a lot easier to use like an acrylic or a plastic in that regard for ants. I think they're all pretty much moved along at this point. Right. And all fell. Um, yeah, I guess there's a few still in there, so I'll leave it a little while longer. It looks like they've kind of made a nest next to that plant right there. That broadleaf plantain. Um, I might just kind of dump this out actually. All right, there's five left in the bag, but that's good enough. Screw them. So we can kind of see them running about there. Zoom in a little. Yeah, you can see them quite well now. I'm not super sure where their nest is at this point. Can't really tell. Looks like one of them found a spider. Right there. In the middle of y'all's screen. That one caught and killed him a spider, or it could have already been dead. Who knows really, but he found some food. It was probably already dead, to be honest. These things don't really hunt. Like, yeah. And I'll show you how big that colony is tomorrow. It's huge. It was just too dark out if I didn't say that already. Huh, there's a queen on the back wall exploring. They need to get her in line. That's strange. You don't usually see that. Usually the workers really kind of keep them under lock and key. At least better than that. I mean, that's crazy. Um, but I guess these ants have so many queens. They probably don't really care if one wants to go off and start her own colony. And they do that too. By the way, they will kind of bud off. I believe it's called budding. They'll bud off and start their own colony. So maybe that's what that one's trying to do. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work for her, but yeah, maybe that's what they're trying to do. I'm not. I'm really not sure where their home base is at this point. Well, I thought it was kind of in that plant, but I don't see a lot. Maybe they're just kind of excavating. Like I see one with some brood over here, but yeah, I don't know. I see quite a bit of activity in this general area. That ant's not messing with that spider anymore. Looks like our queenie fell. Alright, there's where she is. Kind of see the size difference there. Now it's not even interested in her. Getting her back. Or maybe he's going to get help. She's going to get help, who knows? Yeah, I'm not super sure where their colony is. I'll have to watch the video and see. Though I guess it was kind of a tight shot, so maybe that's on me. Looks like they're checking out that spider again. I think there's another spider. Oh no, that's just a ant carrying a youngin'. I might give him a little bit of food. Maybe a roach. Maybe some sugar water. Maybe some fruit. Who knows? Probably a roach because it's convenient. Give him a decent sized one. Not a full grown one, but decent size. Maybe a couple. And these are just dubia roaches is all they are. And this will be a semi-live feeding, I guess. So, no, if you don't like that, don't go ahead and stop watching at this point. But it is dead. It will be moving around because it's a bug. I think I'm gonna plop it right there. See, I smashed it pretty good. Should have some good open bits. But especially with these type of ants, they're not really very strong, so you really got to give them a good entrance. So, yeah. Especially on hard body insects like roaches and stuff. If it was a super worm, I wouldn't, worry as much about it. But yeah, these guys don't have any majors or anything to, tear stuff up, which is why they are. They mostly feed off of aphid juice. They're little farmers. Should probably put some more plants in here, to be honest. But kind of worried about them escaping, and I think this amount is manageable because this thing, the broadleaf plantain, will get huge. I have one in my paludarium if you've ever seen that video. But yeah, maybe I'll give him a little tub of sugar water in here too. Maybe that one queen's still off doing her own thing. Fell, but they still haven't really noticed her. Roach. But yeah. Anyways, I guess I'll cut this video off here. As right now, maybe I'll do an update or something. But I mean, honestly, it's not super interesting. Yeah. I mean, maybe like a time lapse or something of a meat and stuff, but it's not. I mean, they're ants, they're not super interesting. I mean, they are to me, which is why I have them, but there's no like, what are you gonna make a video on, or like, it's the same thing. They're not breeding. It'd have to be like a terrarium change type of thing, or I feed them something something silly. But yeah, fair. I think anyone to be interested in it. But yeah, I mean, I'm rambling at this point, so I'll see y'all later. Bye bye. All right, so I added a bit more clover, as you can see. They finished their roach from last night, so I added another. And I also added them 2 blueberries, which are these things right here. Um, I think they've taken nest under this broadleaf plantain mainly. Like I said, I added some more white clover for them because they do mainly, I believe they mainly feed off um, the honeydew that aphids produce. So you can see some of them scurrying around in there. Right there. Right there. They're a lot easier to see in person, obviously. Yeah. This is just, it's second day update, so not really much has happened. I haven't seen any escape. Or at least not a lot. That I've noticed anyway. So that's good. So our Vaseline barrier seems to be working. There's a mosquito in there. Or is that a spider? What is that? What is that bug? I think it's a mosquito. Or some sort of mosquito looking thing. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I might add a dish of for water for him, but yeah, might be sugar water. Probably won't because that stuff tends to go rotten pretty quick. So yeah, I might add some isopods and stuff like that in here too because they don't really hunt. To be honest, they don't really hunt like that. So yeah. All right, so these are where the ants are. You can, yeah, that's their trail. That was the trap I tried to make. I think it did not end up working at all. Um, but yeah, doesn't look like much right now. But watch whenever I open this piece of wood. Lift up a piece of wood. Let's pick our candidate here. I'm gonna say this one. Yeah, look at all those. And you can see the bigger ones. Those are the queens. So, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, at least, just right there. And it's like that under all of these. So, yeah. The amount I took is not going to hurt this colony at all. So don't worry about that. But yeah, I figured I'd just show you that. And these guys, they'll move in like a couple months. They kind of move around a lot. So if you have a big coconut ant colony in your house where you don't want them, you can deal with them or you can just wait and they'll move on their own. They move quite frequently. So that's why I'm not worried about them in my wood. But yeah.